So, namaste and good evening, dear brothers and sisters. On behalf of the Indian section, a very warm welcome to all of you. Today, we will begin a book study, The Masters, written by Annie Besant. Review of this book, it was already taken up by Brother Pradeep Mahapatraji in a previous session, and its study will be conducted by Brother Keshav Shastri. So, let us begin this session with the universal invocation. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom, O hidden light, shining in every creature, O hidden love, embracing all in oneness, may each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Welcome back to all of you. And today we have with us Brother Keshav Shastri, who will be conducting this book study. Brother Keshav, he is a long-standing member of the Theosophical Society. Since 1976, he has been a member. He is from the Davangiri Lodge from Karnataka, and he is also a council member of the Karnataka Federation. He holds an engineering degree in electronics. In addition, he has a double master's, so he is a grand master. He has a master's in business administration in marketing and HR, and a master's in Sanskrit literature. He's pursuing his career in educational research and training and in software consulting. I welcome Brother Keshav ji, and I invite him to share with us his unique perspective on the book, The Masters.
Good evening to all brothers and sisters. Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Vir Vajinivati Dhinama Vitrevatu. Seeking blessings from all the masters. Today, it's my privilege to study the book, The Masters, by Madam Annie Besant ji, and it was to be supposed done last week, but unfortunately, because of my ill health, I couldn't conduct it. So we will start our. Let me share my screen. Okay, this is about the book, The Masters, written by Annie Besant. And as you know, I belong to the Davangere Lodge, Krishna Theosophical Lodge, Davangere, and I'm from the Karnataka Theosophical Society. So, when this book was proposed to me to be studied or to be discussed with all of you, I thought it's a small book. I had read it long back, but when I started reading it again, it was a wonderful sensation. Though the book is small, the book has been written very precisely with a lot of care and lot of intricacies involved in it. So let's start the study of the book, The Masters. So here is the index. Here in this book, there are main three chapters. One is, the first chapter is the perfect man. The second one is nothing but the masters as facts and ideals to us, and the adepts. This covers both the adepts and the adeptions. So first we will start with the index, the perfect man. The perfect man, the chapter, contains several important things. First, Madam Annie Besant gives us the insight into the perfect man, who is a link in the chain of evolution. Then we have commands, the outer and the inner command that we get for the initiation processes. She also talks about the four initiations: the first initiation, the second, the third, and she talks about the dark night of the soul, the glory of perfection, and finally in this chapter she discusses about the inspiring ideals. So first we will start with the perfect man, which is a link in the chain of evolution. When we talk about men, generally the eternal sciences have answers only up to the present man. Up to the present man, and we call him by a name called Homo sapien. So the evolutionaries from Java man, or the different men, or before that, before Java man, then we can go with the chimpanzees, the baboons. The total evolution process stops at a point called the man. If you ask any biologist, what happens after the man? There is no prevalent answer that a scientist can provide. This is because the physical science mainly depends upon the witnesses that have to be accompanied with all the documentations for the things to be exactly explained. Here comes that. So whenever you say the man, the Homo sapien, which is very important, the name Homo sapien, what happens is, in a simple words, the science says all human beings are same as per the morphological. The morphology means study of the external parts. Externally, every human is the same with the physiological structures. Yes, the physiology is the internal study of the internal parts of the body. Every human has the same set of organs, irrespective of the region, the creed, the sex, and everything, and obviously the anatomical characters which they possess. So that talks about the science. So for science, there is no meaning for the internal evolution that is taking place with human beings, because science, as you know, is more of the physical changes that take place. The evolution of man, let's say somewhere around 20 or 30,000 years back, it has stopped till then. After that, there is no specific information about the evolution in the modern science. So, in the simple words, as we know, that was the case. But theosophy, as an eternal science, it has abundant information about the evolution of man. That is, theosophy gives us an idea or the knowledge post-physical dimensions, which are yet to be discovered by the modern scientists. So, what is the difference? Why should we study the internal evolution of man? Because we have already studied the scientific evolution process. Is it so much required? Madam Annie Besant says, yes, it is the fact, because man, suppose let's take up the example of caveman. You see, caveman and the modern man, we are the same, except few physical features, like maybe the growth of hairs or some kind of a lack of intelligence. But as you know, in the modern world, the evolution process has become more mental, more ideological, and more based on the consciousness. So theosophy talks about those aspects, and it enlightens us to make ourselves fit for the path that starts from the modern man to a perfect man. The next one is, according to the theosophical senses, there is a stage in human evolution which immediately precedes the goal of all human efforts. Yes, there is a stage where we can see that all the human efforts, when they stop, then there comes a stage wherein which only superhumans, let's call them right now, let's call them as superhumans, they can take care. Even in our own physical world, we see these changes, because as human beings, we are all unique. We do have our own sets of internal mental abilities that no one other has. But these internal efforts that we put, these internal characters that we take, they make us to go in a path where we can achieve that stage where we can be superhuman beings or the perfect men. Next is, when this stage is passed through, when this stage is reached, man as a man has nothing more to accomplish. There is no accomplishment. There is nothing to do. There is nothing to achieve more. There is nothing to know more. Everything becomes, does it become stagnant? No, it is not stagnant, as you know, or as all of us know. So when there is nothing more to accomplish, that becomes a stage where there is completely perfectness. And this perfectness is a stage that every human wants to achieve and will achieve. So who are perfect men, Razat? A perfect man has become perfect once he becomes perfect in all the things. What is perfection? Perfection is something that can be said in a beautiful, sutta. Perfectness is not doing physical things perfectly. There comes a stage, because we consider ourselves as great by the studies that we have made, the academic accomplishments, or we think ourselves great or perfect or at a higher stage because of our status, money, everything, or the knowledge that we possess. But a real perfect man is somebody which says, na karmana, na prajaya, dhane na, tyage naike, amrutatvamana shuhu. This is a very beautiful sutta. Na karmana. You become brave. Usually we think that doing karma, we can become great. But those amrutatvamana shuhu, the eternal man, the perfect man, they achieve not because of their karmas. Karmas do not have, they have overcome that karma. Na karmana, na prajaya, the followers that they possess. They do not have the followers. They don't need the followers because their knowledge has become perfect. Basically, in my personal opinion, whoever has these kind of prajas or the followers, those people are not yet perfect. They are seeking the knowledge. Maybe they are taking other people on the path they are moving. Maybe correct or not. Dhanena, nothing is involved. Tyage naike. Their only thing is the renunciation, the tyaga they do. So the man has become perfect. Once everything is done, the human career, that's over for him. Yes, he doesn't remain a human being. Maybe he has the human body, so he has all the characteristic of a human, but the real humanship that we see physically will go away from him. He becomes the perfect man. So remember, na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena, tyagena ite, amrutatva manashu. They are the amrutatva people. That means amrutatva, you know what is amrut? Which doesn't have death. So they do not have death in the physical sense. So they are the perfect men, according to Madam Annie Besant. Yes. Do we have such people, or did we have such people earlier? Yes, we had. The different religions, the different sects, they bestow on this perfect man. They call him by different names. As you know from Rigveda, Ekam Sad Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. So the perfectship, the perfect manship is Sat. That is the ultimate truth. So every human being who reaches that stage, they become one in that Ekam. They all become one. So to that one, Ekam Sat, Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. So the learned people, they call these people by many names. So the truth is that these perfect men have different names. Say let's take for example Krishna. The other example I can give is the Osiris, the Greek god. Next is the Buddha, or let's take up the Christ. The Christians consider Christ as the perfect man. The Greek people, they consider Osiris as the perfect man. The Hindus, they consider Krishna. Both Hindus and Buddhists, they consider Buddha as a perfect man who lived on this earth. Remember, they all lived on the same earth that we are living on today. So, making use of this concept, you call him Christ. Maybe the name may be different, or the region he belonged to may be different. He started his career from the Middle East. Buddha, basically, he belonged to the Indian subcontinent. Osiris, he belonged to the regions of Greece. Krishna, he lived on the soil of India. But what do they have in common? If you ask somebody who is ignorant, who is not a student of theosophy, they say, no, they all had different preachings or teachings or lifestyles. But as the students of theosophy, we know that whatever Krishna preached is the same as what Buddha taught us. Christ said the same things, maybe in a different language or in a different style. You can't differentiate between what Christ said and what Krishna said. So these are the perfect people. These are the perfect people, and these people, they do not belong to a single religion. They are not from a single nation, and they do not also believe with a single human family. Yes, Christianity was born after Christ. Buddhism was born after Buddha. Okay, so these people they are not bounded by, we can't limit them to certain sets of laws that we have made. Yes, we have made laws. So they do not belong to it, and these people, they are not for a single creed. The teaching of Buddha is not for Buddhists. It is for the whole humanity. Again, the preachings of Christ, it is not for Christians. It is for the complete humanity. Same thing, Krishna's knowledge is not for only Sanatanis or Hindus or the people who live in India. It is for the entire human race. So we should understand that. Yes, these people, the perfect man, he is the ideal towards which every belief strives. Whatever things that happen, whatever path you take, all paths reach only one destination. And these perfect men, it is like climbing the Mount Everest. Maybe you can climb Mount Everest from one side, that's south side, or you can also do it from north side. Whichever side you take, the ultimate path is to reach the summit. So that is the thing. The belief, the kind of ways they took. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, it is not the path that you choose. You choose your own path. Sir, I choose Bhakti Yoga. Wonderful. Sir, I choose Sankhya Yoga. Great. Gnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, whatever it is. So these people took different paths and reached that summit. That summit is perfectness. And these preachings illuminate the religions, so-called religions. Right now, let's call them religions. Okay, Christianity, religion. Christ has preached something. So that belief is still with that what I call a sect of people, that is called religion. And it stays there. Look at the preachings of Christ. It all took place in the medieval, in the Middle Eastern region, where the preachings are more of kind of demographical in nature. So Krishna, Osiris, Buddha, and Christ. Madam Blavatsky says, no, he is not a person. What do you mean? Was Krishna not a person? Wasn't Buddha a man? What we call it a person, a personality? No, these people are not persons. Whether you take up the perfect men, they are not persons. What they are exactly? Yes, the perfect man or the perfect ship is a state. We call it sthiti in Sanskrit. It is a sthiti where when you reach there, you are nothing. You will not be the same person. Suppose, let's say, we have one step ahead to reach the summit. There is a difference between that one step and the summit. Once you reach that summit, you will be a successor. You have succeeded in achieving what others couldn't. That is called, it's a state. So whenever if somebody says, Buddha, no, Buddha is not at all a man. Buddha is a state. Christ, he was never a person. Christ is a state. Krishna is a state. Osiris is a state. Mitra, whomever you can take. So, when we talk of now perfect men, these perfect men, please do not consider them. Let's not consider them with our own physical eyes. Let's consider them with our internal eye, which says they are the state. Now the question arises for a normal being like me: are these perfect men different than us? Was Christ different than me? That means, can I compare myself with Buddha or Christ or Krishna, whoever it is, the perfect man? First of all, is it okay or is it legible to compare myself with them? Because I consider them as the greatest men or the perfect men. The answer is, if you ask me the question, or if you ask a question, the answer is okay. There is one more question here. The other question is, were they born with supernatural powers that govern the existence of the universe? Madam Annie Besant ji, she explains it very, very, very technically. Were they born with supernatural powers? That means by birth were they great? And the answer they will give, yes. There is one more question also. Were they blessed souls? We always naturally talk when they say, look, if the boy does well, was he blessed with a good quality education? Or he was born into a family where education was in their blood? Similarly, we ask the same questions. Are they blessed with souls? Then the answer that Madam Annie Besant ji gives is no. They were never different than us. When I say that, I discussed the same thing with few people. They say, how can you compare yourself with Christ? Christ existed. Christ was a perfect man. Christ preached, and you don't. But anyway, when I give the answer, no, there is, there is not a stage wherein which you can differentiate between yourself and Christ. You and Christ are one. You and Buddha are one. That's what Madam Annie Besant ji says. No, the answer is no. There is no difference at all. She answers it in a beautiful technical way. As I said earlier, what we are, they were. What they are, we shall be. Yes. Buddha didn't become Buddha by his birth. Buddha was born like us, the normal human beings. But he became Buddha. Maybe the other things, especially that we will discuss, that Madam Annie Besant ji has discussed in her book, like initiations and all these commands and other things. So they were what we are. So there is no differentiation. Yes, what they have. Buddha has become Buddha, and we will also become Buddha. Definitely we shall all be Buddhas, the perfect men. But on a serious note, that's why it is called very technical. Oh, We'll also become Buddhas. What is there? To become Buddhas, there has to be, that's what I say, tyage naike, na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena, tyage naike. It requires a lot of renunciation. You should renunciate certain things. You should renunciate the ajnan that is there in your mind. We should renunciate all raga, dvesha, whatever we call it. We should renunciate from all. Then only the perfect manship will be achieved. So, they were what we are now, and what they are, what they have become, we shall be. That's what Annie Besant says. Yes, she also goes on saying, all the sons of men can do that, what a son of a man has accomplished. Buddha was son of a man. So, when son of a man has achieved something, all others, we are also sons of men. We can also achieve that. So, let's not, degrade ourselves, our souls, the energy that is vibrant in our body, vibrant in our souls. So we can also become Buddhas, we can also become Christs, everything. Next thing is, she goes on, right? She goes on, explaining the things. As he who would become a musical artist should listen to the masterpieces of music. Yes, that is required. You have a musical artist who is very good in some musical instrument or something else. Now, can't you become, or can I become, or can't I become the great music artist like somebody? Yes. But the thing is, there is a point, there is a thing called renunciation. Renunciation, you renunciate your time listening to the masterpieces of music that somebody has done. Getting influenced from the music that was there. Getting influences from the masters who have reached the perfect manship. Next important aspect is, yes, he should always steep himself in the melodies of the master artists. That means it definitely says you want or you require the blessings. Can I call it blessings? Maybe the guidance of these masters. Then only you can become a musical artist. You cannot practice by yourself. No, a master is always needed for that. So, should we, the children born of humanity, lift up our eyes and our hearts in ever renewed contemplation? Yes, we need to do that. And this contemplation is towards the mountains on which dwell the perfect men of our race. So we should look up to them. Usually, normal people like me and you, what we do is, we always see the people who haven't developed it. Okay, we have got certain development in our evolutionary process, and we consider that as great, and we always compare ourselves with the people who are not yet to our level. But what we need to do is that contemplation, it should be towards the mountains, towards the path that have gone, towards the achievements these perfect men of our race have done. Now, We know what exactly a perfect man is. As you know, perfect man is not a human being. Perfect man means a stage wherein which everything for a perfect man seems to be a part of universal process that's going on. So we can become perfect men. And what do we need for that? Yes, what we need exactly is a kind of commands that are needed. These commands, they should be number one, inner commands, and number two, outer commands. The inner commands coming out of our own soul, and the outer commands that we should have an antenna to grab them. So our job is now to be ready to receive the commands both internally and externally. There are commands already given, but the only problem is we are not tuned to that frequency. And we say we don't believe on them. Because by mere my eyes, I cannot see the live match between X and Y cricket match. It doesn't mean that it is not happening, or it doesn't mean that it's happening thousands of kilometers away. And since my physical presence is not here, not there at the venue, I cannot see it. No, the signals are everywhere. Fortunately, a television set, it is tuned to that frequency of that command. It gets that command and the outcome is visible. Yes, the inner commands that happen in our own self. These inner commands we ignore, or again the same thing happen. We do not know the capability of our own selves. This has happened. Say for example, the masters like Vivekananda, he didn't know what he was, but when he got the external command from Ramakrishna Paramahansaji, from Naren he became Vivekananda. So he was ready, or he got tuned, or he got a master who could guide him through that path. So Annie Besant explains about the interior evolution of a man. Yes, a very important aspect that Annie Besant has explained. We have seen the exterior or the external evolution of man. Now, if you consider the interior evolution of man, Annie Besant writes that we can all have three kinds of interior evolutions. The first one is called as sub-moral evolution. Sub-moral evolution. That means maybe I can put it as animal instinct. Yes, that is sub-moral. Below the morality, what we call morality. The next important evolution, internal evolution, is the moral evolution. And the third one is super moral evolution. So these three interior evolutions, maybe sub-moral evolution was when we started as human beings on earth, where we were like animals. There was no morality. What I need is food. Kill, eat, hunt, eat, enjoy. Tomorrow, nothing. Suppose if you are hurt or if you feel that somebody is hurting me, kill him. No morality. Then came the moral evolution. We have seen in the history how morality developed. And we are only in these two stages. Right now, let's hope or let's think that we as students of Theosophy have passed this evolution level, the submoral evolution level. Now, we are at a point where we are undergoing something called the moral evolution. When we talk about submoral evolution, there is no distinction between right and wrong. Yes, as I told you earlier. I don't know, if I am hurt, I'll hurt you. Or I fear for you, I'll kill you. Is it not right to kill? I don't know. There is nothing. No rightness, no wrongness. My only selfishness that exists. So that is called submoral evolution. And where a man, he always follows his own desires. My desire is to make everybody happy. That is morality. No, I should be happy. If I get food, if somebody is suffering, it is not my problem. So, in the submoral evolution, as you know, it is completely based on desires. The desires of the lower world, the physical world. Next important thing is, for the moral evolution, the morality which comes in, yes, here, right and wrong are seen. And it becomes so defined and so inclusive that we have to be obedient to law. Right and wrong, when they came, so we made a law that these sets of things are right, these set of things are wrong. That is the law. And if you don't abide by the law, you will be punished. That is the moral evolution. The moral evolution, you can say, at the initial stages came as Svarg and Narak, Jannat and Jahannam, or the heaven and hell. These concepts were based on moral evolutions, that you do this thing, you will go to hell. You do good things, you will go to this thing. That was the initial stages that came in the moral evolution. Now, the third one is super moral evolution, wherein which first point is this, you should note it. The external law is completely transcended. That has transcended to a different level, where there are no laws. The only law, only rule that exists is the divine nature. That's all. That means a simple thing that in moral evolution, I see the law as a different concept than me. When I become the law myself, there is nothing to answer. I am law by myself. So, in submoral, there was nothing. There was no right, no wrong, nothing. Again, in moral evolution, we consider it as a separate concept. Now, in the supermoral level, the external law, again, it transcends such that only divine nature rules its vehicles. That's all. So, I am governed by a divine nature. That's what it happens. Okay, in simple words, if you say submoral evolution, it is based completely on lawlessness, moral evolution, do's and don'ts. And when man was starting his journey in the evolutionary cycle, man, I'm not talking about the other animals. Evolution of man, when it started, these things started, moral evolutions, do's and don'ts. That's why where something called religion came into picture. That is moral evolution. Lawlessness was submoral. There was nothing. Again, man there was an evolution of man from lawlessness to do's and don'ts. That means there is duality here. This is wrong. This is right. So the third one is natural expression without external direction. Yes. For example, when we are evoluting right now, let's consider our own stages where when we have it, we have do's and don'ts, duality. That's why JK once said, very beautifully he has said, JK, we are observers. There is something which is being observed. So we differentiate between observer and observant. But here, natural these things, when you only become the observed thing, then what does it? In a simple sentence, let's say, you are the culprit and you are the judge. Both. That is super moral evolution. In moral evolution, there is concept of culprit and there is concept of judge in two different ways, two different dimensions. Here, there is no dimensional at all. So this is what super moral evolution is all about. Again, if we start analyzing the super evolution of human beings, then in this evolution, a man loves because it is his duty. In moral evolution, it was his duty to love, give universal love. But here, man loves not because he had to love, but because he is love. So he has become love himself. So when he becomes love, he has to love. Because his whole, personality has become love. Let's consider that. The second one is, when this morality is translated, all the powers of the man turn to the good, as always a magnetized needle turns to north. Yes. So morality, the concept of morality in super moral evolution is that there is no wrong. Everything is a part of it. So you will not differentiate. That means the thing that we consider as bad, in the evolution level, we don't consider it as bad. It is, perceiving the things. For me, killing a person is good or bad. I can't judge. But here, when you enter the super evolution, everything seems to be something. Okay. So, and we always start choosing the best for all. That's where the love comes. The love was restricted. It had limitations. But when in the super moral evolution level, there is no restriction. So the love becomes universal. That is the first principle, universal brotherhood that we speak of. So when we speak of universal brotherhood, that shows that we are in the super moral evolution. And here what happens is, when all become one, or you become one in all, then there is no more combat. There is no fighting, because we have already taken the victory. The victory is one. I am one among them. As we say, the hidden love, which is in everything, the hidden energy that's in everything, that is God. So when the concept of Aham Brahmasmi comes, there is nothing. You are at the stage where there is always perfectness. Yes, the Christ reached from nowhere to his perfect stature because he became the Christ triumphant. He won over Christness and he became the master of life and death. Next thing, what we call is the first initiation. So we have had discussion till now about the kinds of commands that we get. Those commands, we should make use of them, and while utilizing them, we can go further from our moral evolution to super moral evolution. In this book, Madam Annie Besant talks about the first initiation. I believe the time is over, so I'll be stopping at this point, and maybe we can continue in the next week, next Friday. And I hope my deliverance was
perfect.
Good. And everybody, 1 minute. Okay. Okay. So I'll hand it over to Sister Vibhaji. And if there are any, I don't call them questions because everybody here is, a known person. They know what exactly and everything is there. So I request if there are any comments or any feedbacks. Now, Sister Vibhaji, I give you the stage.
Thank you so much, Brother Adikeshav ji, and thank you for your deep insight into these concepts which Madam Blavatsky has written in this book. And the clarity with which you explained them was very nice. Thank you so much. And now I request our participants, if they have any point to discuss or they would like to share some of their perspective on these concepts, they are welcome to do so. So actually, these are very deep concepts which Madam Annie Besant has shared with us. And your presentation was excellent. The slides which were made brought out a lot of clarity based on, like, the perfected man is a state. He's not a personality. And the morality, how we evolve through morality. That is another thing, because these are the things which we experience in our everyday life. So anyone would like to talk on this or share their ideas? So this is a long book, and you will definitely be continuing it for a few more sessions, right?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Okay. I don't think there are any questions from anyone, so we can close this session. And there are participants are thanking you. They are there in the comments, which is very nice. And we look forward to your next session, in which we will continue the study of this book. Anything which you would like to add, Adikeshav ji?
Nothing. We will meet next Friday at the same time. Thank you very much.
All right. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you to all the participants. And with this, we close the session with our closing prayer. Om Asito Ma Satkamaya Tamso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Sarvesham swastirabhavatu. Sarvesham shantirabhavatu. Sarvesham purnam bhavatu. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. Lokah samasta sukhino bhavantu. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste and thank you all for joining.